This is going to be a long one. This is the Weiss Schwarz market update for Friday, June 18th. And what we got going on today is I just came off the back of the news of the Quintessential Quintuplets coming out in English on October 29th. Again, if you haven't seen that video yet, basically, you're going to be giving up a lot of money if you want to collect all of this. Right? There's no other way to say it. There's going to be a whole ton of cards that there's 135, 55 parallels. You're going to get this quintessential quintuplets quintessential set, which has all of these trial decks inside of it. You get one SP, probably going to be at least $100, 80 if they're being generous, but it's going to be a lot. So just so you know, it comes out. Pre-order should probably start. Normally on Facebook, I see pre-orders come out as soon as the next day. So you might start seeing it this weekend where people are going to be like, pre-order now. So if you want this, just keep looking out at the stores or your local game store. If you really want to, go through Facebook. But I would imagine it should be starting soon because it should, for me anyways, just so you know. Um, I love the quintessential quintuplets. I made a video on it up there on their birthday, celebrating their birthday. So for me, I'm going to be a little bit biased on this one again. We'll talk more as this sets more information is known and comes out, but it was a really, really strong seller, and you can look at the SP prices on UUT or Nova TCG, but pretty expensive. So I can't imagine it does horrible in English. It's going to be pretty amazing. But at the same time, I say that it's going to be opened, I would imagine. So if you can't afford the quintessential set, if you can't afford booster boxes, and you just want some cards, it will be open. And I would imagine the lower rarity cards would be pretty accessible. So again, if you just want to get a couple, just so you have some cards, if you're a fan of the show, then I would just be aiming for singles for this set. But we'll know more as it comes up. Again, I just feel like it's going to be highly opened, right? Next thing we got is the Bushiroad Global Online Store. And the thing to note about this is they're adding more and more things as we've seen before. Vanguard, again, I talked about that before. I'll put the video up there. It's they are selling Japanese trial decks. I already explained this. It's Japanese only. Inside of here, it's just going to be English. The real reason why I'm on this page is because of this. The Weiss Schwarz, they just put out more Hololive VTubers. So we got version 2, version 3 here. We got more deck boxes, more sleeves, more rubber mats. So what that should mean is if you have any favorites in version 4, like I do, then most likely there's going to be rubber mats, sleeves, deck boxes for them coming out as well. Maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. Just to note that there are pre-order deadlines. These right here have a pre-order deadline of June 20th, which is Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to anybody that's actually watching right now. I know that because that's my dad's birthday. My dad's birthday is on Father's Day. So there we are. But if you only buy through the store and you're looking for some more supplies of Hololive, then make sure to keep checking back to make sure that you don't miss out on it. And with that, let's talk about Kaguya. Kaguya. We know Kaguya at this point is going to be strong. Strong, strong, strong. It's going to be a strong deck to play with. It could potentially beat up Data Live and other sets. So the bad part about Kaguya is the fact it lacks sign cards. I explained this in another video. At this point, Kaguya is basically sold out. There are places that have them. And again, I reference TCG Player just because now we have an actual sales history on TCG Player. And it's a good place for me to just show what current prices are. I'm not saying these are the exact prices that the current market is. Again, we can look at the latest sales to see if anything is happening here. So right there, current sales. You actually have one person buying it at 127.95. So again, I use TCG Player because I don't normally recommend stores. That's just not my thing. Because I don't want anything to happen to anybody watching this video, saying like maybe they got ripped off by a store. I don't do that. But when these things happen, like with Bofuri, when Bofuri was about to come out and people couldn't find product, I recommended a store that you can get it at. So I'm gonna do the same thing here. Again, just the caveat: I have purchased from here before. Um, I've recommended this for Bofuri, and this store, it's an actual store. It's a small business. So if you need to buy Kaguya and you are all out of other options, again, you'll be supporting a small business. Check this out, Bounty XP. They have Kaguya right here. So we have booster boxes for 72 bucks. You have trial decks still for 20. So again, if you are budget conscious, let me just tell you this right now. This store is not the lowest you're going to find it at. But again, it's a store that I actually trust. So if you are out of options and you want to support the store, feel free to do so. Okay? And then while you're here, you might as well check out all their different card supplies and all of that stuff too. But here is just something for my viewers. If you watch this and you need to find Kaguya, here it is. Okay? So Kaguya right now on TCG Player a bit higher than I would say. And honestly, I probably wouldn't buy this box for 125 ever. Just because again, there are no signed cards in there, even though it's playable. 125 for zero chances of a signed card, I don't want that. And you'll still have SPs again, but they're just not signed, and it's not for me. If I really wanted these Dens, I would just buy the singles. If it's buy for $125 or buy singles, I would buy singles every day. Okay. Out here, no more booster cases, trial decks, blah blah blah. They have it at $40 on TCG Player, and you know what? I know you say it's crazy, but we have here where someone bought it for 35. We have someone buying it for 28, 20, 28, so 29 basically. So people are buying this thing. People are looking for this thing. I'm not saying they're buying like 20 of them at $34, but they're buying something. So again, if you are a collector and you just want the sealed, I could see it. Me personally, I wouldn't be buying a trial deck of Kaguya at $40 again because of the lack of signed card. If you need a card, I would just go ahead and buy the singles when it comes out. Or you could buy it from Bounty XP at $20. Okay, so there you are. So that's Kaguya. It's going to be a strong set. We'll see what happens when strong set meets lack of signed cards. But right now, we're looking like it's about to sell out, if not already sold out. Next, we got 7 Deadly Sins. Right now, 7 Deadly Sins is supposed to be coming out end of July. So you have about 6 weeks left to order it. And again, for me personally, my thoughts on 7 Deadly Sins up there, but there's a lot of supply. I think people have bought a lot of this thing store wise, seller wise. There's a lot of this stuff out there. Will it sell out? Probably eventually. Before release, I don't know. After release, if there's still any left, yeah, it'll sell out. But again, I think there was people that bought heavily into this, and I would just be careful. If you're looking to just play it, again, it's a strong set. It's not like Data Live Kaguya level, but it's a strong set. And I think for me, because of how much I feel like is going to be out there, there is going to be chances if you want to play it to just buy singles, right? Just go ahead and buy singles. That's me personally. I bought, again, full disclosure, I bought some. But again, I'm not going all crazy into it just because I know how much is going to actually be out there, right? You could say that same thing with Quintessential Quintuplets. Even though I'm like max happiness right now about it, like I know that there's going to be so many people buying into it that, again, if you can't buy it, you're just going to look in for singles. Okay, so right now, there is plenty of supply of Seven Deadly Sins on TCG Player. You can find it. You got trial decks. And people are buying it for the 22. Feel like you can get it for lower, but again, make sure you just go out there and take a look at different stores. Even though I said Bounty XP, do your due diligence. Go out there, find it, find stores that people will vouch for. Okay. All right. With that said, we are on the double rare experience train here, and I started adding notes because what I did last week was I started taking a look at Memory Snow and all these other ones, and that obviously actually 1.5 times the amount of work that I did. So that would mean the videos would be even longer. So I'm just trying to cut back here on the length of these videos because it'll drive me nuts too. And it takes forever to assemble this freaking sheet every week. So um, what we got here is we got Memory Snow, came out August 28th. Nothing really happened, negative 2%, as we would expect. This came out almost 10 months ago, and I would expect it to basically be flat at this point. Like, if anything, if there's people undercutting or people buying or whatever, some people just getting rid of their cards. This makes sense to me. Nothing crazy happens. What I am actually doing is I didn't do this before. I wasn't tracking SPs. Like, the whole point of this again was to see at what point do these things go down, how far price wise, if there's like a level that is kind of like the rock bottom before going back up, more from like a player standpoint. But at the same time, I want to look at the SP, and the booster boxes as well. The booster box is pretty nuts, 150. I mean, there was a time not too long ago, a few months back, where you could still get these for 65 to 70. And if you think these prices are crazy, then you could pretty much say and I'm not insulting anybody, I'm just following that logic. If you think these prices are crazy, then you're going to say there's going to be crazy people out there that paid for it. And as you can see, thanks to our TCG Player latest sales history, we actually had some people buying at 150, which a lot of people would just shake their head at or go, whoa. I didn't, I didn't open this price history till just now. I say whoa because 170, 180. I would have never guessed. See what I said? Like, yeah, you could have got it for 60s, 65s. Here's like a whole slew of 60s in March. I would have never guessed anybody would have bought it for 180 or 170. Nuts, right? That's nuts. But that's how it is now. That's the thing. Get used to it, everybody. So, booster boxes, 150. Whether you like it or not, that's how it is. And there's not like on TCG Player at least, there's not like a crazy amount of them. So there we are, Memory Snow. And here's the SPs. Again, I'm not tracking them in my Excel. I think at some point I'm just going to, if I ever needed to go back, I have at least this video as like some historical reference of what the SPs are. I don't want to write them all down because it's just going to be a lot more work for me. But again, with this price history, I can see. So even though people are saying like SPs are like out of their mind, they are. I mean, 500. I would never pay 500 for this version of REM. There's other REMs that I would rather buy. But again, we have price history, and this thing says 250. Can you say this card is worth 250 now? You could make an argument for that, but again, how many people are willing to step up to sell it to you for 250 at this point? I don't think I'd buy it for 500, but again, there's no one else selling it for lower right now on TCG Player anyways. So again, I'm just gonna flash through these. This is more historical reference for later on in life. I think this is really cool again to see the latest sales history. So 160s and 600. We got Beatrice for actually just about the right amount of money. I mean, not to say that it wasn't lower at some point, but at least on here, someone actually did buy it for 300 back in May. And we got Ram. Holy crap. Ram used to be 61, 68, 58. Jeez, in the 50s. I feel like that's way too low. I like her signature. It looks really cool. And we got Subaru. Can you imagine that Subaru is actually $29, $25? Yikes. No love for Subaru. That's actually I thought he was good. I mean, he's not my favorite. If you had if I had to pick Subaru as like main character guy like versus some other guys, probably not. Like, but at the same time, I don't think he was worth $25. That's a little low, don't you think? I mean, people out there in the world right now, $25 for Subaru is kind of nuts. It's too low. It's way too low. You can't tell me that 25 was right for Subaru. Not. I mean, I wouldn't be paying 150 for Subaru, but dang, man, low respect for our guy here. It's just sucks. But there we are. That's our walkthrough of Memory Snow. Nothing interesting. So that's kind of like how this video is gonna go. I'm gonna speed it up now that I kind of went through Overlord. Oh, I need to talk about Overlord. So last week I had Albedo at lower. It was like $7 or something like that, because it looked like market manipulation to me. Somebody came in May and started buying the heck out of these Albedos and Nabe. So, I had two June 13th. So that's what this actually was. But, what actually ended up happening is people actually are buying it for 15 and 18. Not to say people, there's two sales, but again, there are other websites out there. If you are hearing me, there are other websites out there that sells Weiss Schwarz singles for lower. Okay, just type it in the internet. Weiss Schwarz English singles, you'll find it. I swear to you, you will. But I mean, even though I know that, and even though I don't like marking it down as 18, I'm marking it down as 18 because I have two sales here for $15 and $18. So I changed the number back. That's my logic. I mean, again, the market is whatever people will pay, and I have probably one guy. It looks like one guy happened on the same day that bought it for 15 and 18. Okay, so I'm gonna go with the fact that this thing is 18 now. And even then, I mean, the price is still. So what I went with then is this price is $527 because nobody bought the Nabe at that higher price, so I still left it at 4. Right, so I'm using this price versus this price. So double rare average went from 527 to 541. So Nazarick growing up. What I'm starting to see is people are filling out their binders. Right, that is literally what's happening. So if you go through here, you'll be able to start seeing sales of I closed all the windows, but you'll be able to see there is the cards were being bought around like June 14th, June 16th, something like that. So someone is actually going out there and buying some cards to fill in, I would imagine, either their decks or just even a binder of Nazarick. And what we got here? So that's that. Yeah, Nabe, like I said, nobody's buying it for that, even though someone jacked them up. Like we're having this price of 16 that no one's buying. So if that happens when they buy it, I'll raise the price. But at this point, I don't really feel like it's a proper representation, especially since there are other stores out there that have it. Okay, so there. It always shocks me when I flip the tab and I see something nuts. So we have Tomb of Nazarick, $180. Again, You might say that's nuts. You might not like it. You may have price memory of what it was before, like this increase. But I also have sale price. And the funny thing is it's not just one, right? It's not like one guy. You can't say, well, there's just one idiot out there in the world. No, there isn't, because you have June 2nd, June 8th, June 9th, May 14th, May 11th, right? For 180s. 180, 178, 180, 180, 180. Do, do I think this box is worth 180? It doesn't matter what I think. It matters when people buy it. And yeah, no, I wouldn't buy it for 180. I think that price is insane. But it's 180. It's 180 if the people buy it for 180, and that's what happened. Okay, so Tomb of Nazarick, apparently one of the all-star boxes of the year. Okay. Oh, this hurts. This hurts. This trial deck, $70. $70 trial deck. And again, you have sales of that. Like, when did I miss this? When did I not see this? Oh, I remember. I think I said something about it happened in March. There was a giant increase in investors in March. I mean, no matter how many times I tell people this, they don't believe me. But now we have TCG Player, this history, and you could see March is when it happened. Right? That's exactly when this happened, and you could see it all the way. Again, you may think trial decks buying it for this price is nuts, but you have a nice little sales history that says people actually did that. So there we are. And we got sign cards. Sign cards. Let's see what they are. A lot of these are sold out. Like Albeda's gone. Shaltier's gone. We got Nabe. She's more expensive than I would probably pay for her. I mean, I like her as the character. This card could be better, I think. I feel like she could have had a nicer card. But overall, yikes. I remember when I first opened this tab, I'm like, oh my god. Yeah, and I get what people mean by like some of the prices are ridiculous, but people are free to price whatever they want. Again, we have at least the history that tells us. Again, do I think it's worth 250? No, it should be higher, obviously, because the supply of this card out there is lower. Would I pay, I mean, personally, would I pay 2 grand for it? No. I got other things to buy. I'd rather have a master case of quintessential quintuplets, right? So, no, I would never buy it for that price, but again, 250 is not right at this point either, since you have people buying at that price. Iron's gone. Evil Eye, Blue Rose. I guess that's okay. Yeah, that looks okay. I wouldn't pay would I pay Irons for this price? No. And that one's gone. I honestly don't remember her. I don't remember the Golden Princess Renner. I don't remember her from the anime. It might have been a long time ago, so I don't remember her. And Momon, I probably wouldn't pay for this either. So there we are. There's Nazarick. KONOSUBA. I love KONOSUBA. All right, what we got with KONOSUBA? We got nothing happening. It went down a little bit, but my note for this is some card buying this week looks like filling out binder. So again, this is one of those ones where I'm gonna close these. Let me just close these. Okay. This one where I started noticing people are buying it, so 616, 614, you start seeing 614, 616, 614, 616, 611. So someone's going in here and for me anyways, looks like they're either making a deck or filling out a binder. I would imagine it's just filling a binder. It's kind of funny because this actually sold, they sold copies but still dropped in price. So someone must have either opened a box or just decided to spring clean and start selling stuff, or just drop their price. But you actually had people buying cards and the price still drops. So a little odd. But yeah, that's all that happened with Konosuba. Konosuba, where are we? Let's take a look at. Here we are. I think we're gonna just have to get used to the fact that booster boxes are gonna be $150. If you don't own them and people want to jack them up, it's gonna be 150. So does that price make sense? Well, again, look at the price history. We got June numbers 129, 129, 130, 130, 130, 130, 130, 115, 130, 110. So it's been steadily rising up. So again, you may not like it. That's just how it is. And we have plenty of proof that says people are buying it at that price. Okay, SPs, gone, gone. I love this one. I, I love this card so much. I don't know. It just reminds me of the anime. Just everything that she does, just blowing up stuff. I remember that was the first season where she kept exploding the castle. Yeah, it was the first season, like the fourth episode, third episode. I mean, Megumin, I love her. She's great. Everyone's on there is so good. I mean, Darkness is great. You got Aqua. I just love all the characters. So overall, SPs, they make sense to me. Yeah, they're higher, but at the same time, I mean, this Aqua is just a lot for Aqua. And Union, yeah, Union's right. It almost seems like exactly right. Right, 200. What do you got? Wiz? She's the Wiz, and she's double the price of where she was. Well, not double, but close. So, again, I have no problems with this 140 number. It makes sense to me. So, Konosuba, right where it should be. Again, October 23rd doesn't move much. It makes sense. Adventure Time. What we got with Mr. Adventure Time? Adventure Time. Notes. Nothing interesting. Someone got a little antsy and they're undercutting everybody. So that's what happened with the top four cards. There's undercutting happening. Not really much of a sale. Down 7% due to the undercut. And boxes. This is where boxes might be a little crazy. Just because, again, we have boxes 125 latest sales. Puts it as of June. In June, we had sales of $90. So I don't know if there's just people not listening on TCG Player or running out, but 125 is the current price, but none's have sold at this point at that price. Okay, and trial decks, they're 21, 22, and there's some of them out there. There's a decent number out there. So this is one of those sets that didn't get a whole lot of love and continues still not to get a whole lot of love. Supply set. I don't look at supply sets, so it's actually my first time looking at the sale history of it. And they don't really sell all that much. I mean, they do sell. Look, it's like one a month on TCG Player anyways. So, $53. Sign cards, they are what they are. It doesn't seem like anybody's going full bore and like buying a ton of these things. So 190, like all the prices of these things seem to be just about outside of this one. I like how I say that, and then it's like outside of this one. Finn and Jake Heroes. Ooh. Uh, Sales history, 2 in March, 90.95. Again, like if you take the sales that were in March or February or something like that and do like a multiplier, maybe time two it or something. This thing went way more than times two. This is, to me, 350 not right. Again, you can price your card whatever you want. I wouldn't have expected this thing to be 350 is what I'm trying to say. And this one's out too. So yeah, overall Adventure Time, nothing really to note of here. It's just in a stable spot right now. Okay. Mob Psycho. Mob Psycho didn't like do anything. Notes nothing. I should have just said like it's exactly what I think Mob Psycho is. Kind of boring. So overall 0%. I know there was a drop here of like 9 cents, but overall nothing happened. Average wise, it lost like a cent, which doesn't even register on my percent here. So Mob Psycho, nothing there. Booster boxes as you expect. Didn't do anything. It's hanging out at $69. And there's plenty of supply. You could still buy this on websites. Just so you know, there's Mob Psycho out there in the world outside of TCG Player, and it's hanging out at $69. So makes sense. That's why I said Mob Psycho is pretty boring. $37 for a supply set seems about right. Doesn't really sell all that much, and yeah, that's what I think of supply sets. Supply sets is, I think, nice for collectors if you need a deck box. But outside of that, I really wouldn't, me personally, unless you need the supply stuff inside, I wouldn't buy it for myself. Or if you want, just display it alongside of the trial deck or booster box. Trial decks, as you expect, $20. That's like your normal standard price for a trial deck, and that's what it is. Mob Psycho sign cards. They hold a fairly decent high value. It's this one sold anyways in the 300s, 200, 300. Yeah, 175. That looks right. 112, 112, 80. This is like actually the most priced to market item that I looked at so far. There, outside of this dimple. But overall, pretty average and solid at this point, right? I don't imagine this number going up or down. Like I said, I think rock bottom is around 350. I haven't had one that hit that point yet, but truly, like, if there is a rock bottom, you can look at Mob Psycho, and he's hanging out there at 367 right now. FGO. Well, I was already. Nah. Let's just go back to the normal format. So FGO, 1%. Again, nothing interesting happened, like as we would expect with all of these sets actually. So nothing happened. Somebody bought Gilgamesh. They bought 3 cards, and now it's up 60%. Kingu down. Again, it's just undercutting. So nothing really interesting from FGO. We got boxes of FGO at 105. And do people buy it at 105? Well, the answer is yes. the answer is yes. Nothing in June, but people will buy it at this price. So if you wait long enough, or if you just want to lower it, I'm pretty sure somebody will scoop it up. If you put it at $99.99, I bet it sells within like a day or two. I'm just guessing, but I have this feeling it would. So FGO, Child. This one caught me off guard when I saw this one. Trial deck 1254. He has 5. It's kind of weird, but yeah. I'm going to assume that was all the same person. So they sold like a bunch of trial decks so far at 1254. Because they're just trying to get rid of them. And then there's some at 20s. So nothing too impressive there. The sign cards, though, are pretty nice. This one is the SEC Mosh is 404, let's say. And it's sold for that. I guess people like her. I know I like her, but overall, it doesn't matter what my opinion is. It's other people's opinion, and people have been buying this SP, so at the 400 range. And Firm Courage doesn't really sell, but again, I think fairly priced at this point. Ishtar, a little higher. 500 for a Reshka Gall. I guess. How many people are selling this thing? 2? There's 3 cards. Okay. I like that card. This is really cool. I like her with glasses. And Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh is about right. You can see where it was in March, 145, 140, and it's 175. Not too bad. And we got Kingu. It's weird that Kingu is actually double in price when I see it here. Again, I wouldn't pay for this card at 150, 80 doesn't seem too bad. So, FGO. That's FGO. Where are we? Magia record. Finally. Okay. I'm just happy because this is my original double rare thing, and I'm finally getting to. I at least know I'm halfway through this. Is my excitement there. So what do we got? Magia record never ceases to amaze me because again the set wasn't strong. Magia record mobile wasn't strong, but if you look at the double rare average, 620, 624 basically. Didn't really move from last week, which again makes sense to me. As in, it came out in February. You didn't really need much of it outside of some cards to carry over into the anime set. So at this point, they're all pretty solid. You're going to have people buying or undercutting or whatever, but nothing's really changed on it. Magia record, mobile. The box is 62. I think that's because there's a ton of them. I was about to say just because it's weak, but the other part is the supply. You got 5, 11, 11, 1, 3, 4, 1, plenty. People are buying, well, there was 2 sales, right? 614, 68 for 65. So at this point, it's where it's going to be. It's 65. Yeah, so this guy came out and put some up for 62. So that was fairly recently. And trial decks, like I said, you could tell when a set is uninteresting because the trial decks will be $20. You'll have booster boxes in the 60s, 70s after after this much time because this thing originally came out on February 26th, right? So it's been a decent amount of time and no real price appreciation for the sealed product. And as for the SPs, Homer's gone. Iroha seems alright. I mean, 200, it's went up a little bit, but we'll see if anybody buys that. I think it's been 200 for a couple weeks now. And Saruno, I do remember that was actually there. And wow, 612. Somebody really wanted a Saruno playset SP because they bought them. Yeah, I was pretty sure they had it here, and yeah, it's gone now. We got Madoka, 110, pretty fair. Felicia, my favorite, 123. This went up for some reason. It went up to 150. I have no clue why. I wouldn't pay 150 for this card. Just me. Yachios went down in price. How many of them are there? 1, 2, 4, 4. And Iroha, $74. So she went down a little bit. How many are here? 1, 2. Ooh, they got 2. That'd be why. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. So again, my proof that investors aren't buying up all the SPs again, and that's why I point this out. Investors aren't buying up every SP. They're just looking for, I guess, popular people / FOMO cards right now just to play that game, right? If there are people buying and reselling, this would be why. And this again proves the point that not everything Weiss goes up. And there we are. So I'm going to go to Magia Record Anime. I pushed Data Live backwards. I just like keeping the Magia records together. So we got Magia Record Anime. It actually went up in price this week. And it's because Saruno. She went, well, actually, Saruno, Reina, and Kaide. So all went up. Yachio went down a little bit. But overall, no, it's nothing interesting happened here. But again, it's nice to see that bounce back up. So there is a point in time where these things will actually move back up. And booster box wise, still hanging out there, 84. I remember seeing that the past couple weeks. Some people did buy some. There is a healthy supply still left. And again, trial deck, $20. No SPs. So I don't imagine that to be any sort of changing. Like, not SPs. No sign cards. There we are. And what we got? So we have no change in the serial numbers. All of them in white still exist. The red ones are still gone, and the prices haven't changed at all. So really, not much to say here when it comes to sign card to these SP cards. I'm still actually amazed that they're this high in price and that people were willing to buy it at 204. I just don't understand why you would buy. I mean, I get it. You are a collector, but to me, this like missing the signature. I wouldn't buy this card for 200 missing a signature. I couldn't stomach that. No way. Again, I'd rather just take that 200 and buy like booster boxes of something coming up. But again, if you're a fan, it makes sense. Like you're going to do it because you want to collect the whole every card. But to me, I just couldn't do it. 200 Felicia. Apparently, people do buy it. Yachio. Why do people not like Yachio? I thought she was cool. And she was maybe because she was super responsible in the anime, right? Like she wasn't as easygoing as we got Felicia here, just trying to eat, or Saruno. I mean, yikes, 200. They were selling in the 94s. And anything else? Reina double in price. I could see it. I mean, at $50. Again, I wouldn't buy it at 110. I would probably buy it at 50, but not 110. Okay, and then these would be are these the trial deck ones? Yeah, they're the trial deck ones. So no one's has bought it since I've been watching this. No one has bought these trial deck SPs. Data Live is actually kind of interesting. No weekly change actually. There hasn't like this one went down like 5 cents, 3 cents. That's because people were undercutting each other, slightly, so that they are up on the list, the top of the list to buy from. But outside that, no real change. The only real change is here, which is kind of nuts to me. The booster box. You remember the booster box is like 103, 105. This thing is people bought them. People bought it at 105. Here's that 103. Here's the 105. And yeah, 120. So you have 120. There's a reprint coming. Just so you know, there's a reprint coming. And by the way, there are stores out there right now that are still selling them for $62. So again, if you're listening to this, make sure you look up other stores that are selling Data Live for $62 because they are out there. I know exactly which one I'm talking about. They have a bunch. They have a lot of them. And if you're looking for them, it exists. Do not buy this for 120 unless you need it right now. Right? Unless you want the thrill of opening a box, money is no object to you, then feel free to buy it. But there are reprint boxes that are out there that will be coming probably in July for $62. Okay. Trial decks 45, pretty solid. Again, these won't be reprinted. You're gonna need the card inside of it. There's 2 sign cards inside of these things, and people have been buying it. So there is still a decent supply of them, though, just so you know. But I imagine again, once this all gets cleaned out, like we'll be able to see what happens. It's gonna be pretty neat to watch what happens with trial decks. Sign cards. No real change. I don't think anybody has, as I say that, I remember this one. Important Promise Toka, SEC. Someone bought one recently for $4.90. And outside of that, Kurumi got bought $6.11. Kotori, $1.75. Yeah, I mean, not really much happening, but it makes sense to me. Like these cards, I didn't see anything that was like horribly mispriced outside of a Terrible Spirit Kurumi. We'll see what happens with that. I think there was 5. Yeah, there's 5 still. So we'll see what happens when the reprint comes and this thing has more supply. So, okay, Karumi. Bofuri. Oh, thank God, I'm on my last one. I need the stretch. I hate sitting on this chair. My wife wanted me to move my computer here instead of being back there, where it's like normal chairs. This thing is like your bar stool type chair, and my feet don't touch the ground. It's a bar, so it hurts after a while. But okay, let's just do this last. Let's do this last one. Bofuri is still moving up and down, right? So, again, a lot of people opened them, but what I'm starting to see is a lot of people are doing some buying. There's some buying happening on Bofuri. Maybe they're filling out their decks, maybe they're filling out their binder, but it's starting to happen. Maybe again, like I said, um, there is that up and down kind of thing. Bofuri is still trying to figure out its way, and I do see some undercutting happening. So that is what's happening with Bofuri booster boxes. Yeah, people are buying them. Again, people want to. I think this product was definitely a really strong product. It's hanging out in the 90. You can see how many sales there are just from June alone, right? So we got June, and 90 seems to be the price at this point. And again, I don't know. Once these are all cleaned out, there's someone sitting there waiting with a case of these things to throw them up. But at this point, it's going to hit 100 sooner or later, and that should be eventually coming. Bofuri child deck displays. People have been buying them in June. We got 3 sales in June: 150, 150, 160. Now it's 170. And God only knows what happens when these last 3 last 3 boxes go down. Again, there's probably somebody out there that has a bunch of them. I know I have 2. I'm not going to sell them, but I have 2, and I would imagine there's other people out there that haven't. Again, inside of there was 2 SP cards, and they're pretty good, right? This Maple right here, and this Sally. I stopped because Sally was a bit lower than Maple, but pricing on TCG, I guess she evened up the score with Maple here. So trial decks, we got $20, and there's a fair amount of them, right? So there's a fair supply of trial decks. The deck box is not so much. And SPs, like I said, people have bought the Maple on 614, 550. Dang. Yeah, and the Sally 425 back in May. So this person they just raised up the price is all it was. Multicolored Salary, one of my personal favorites card wise. I think it just looks really cool. She's got the glass, she's got the stars and stuff behind her. Her hair is all colored. I think it's pretty cool looking. Machine God Maple, so 520. I'm just looking for anything that happened recently. 180. This one sold for is anything this past week. Me 613, 168. Yeah, I mean, me's pretty cool. I found the parts of her in the anime was just pretty funny when she would be like super confident, and then internally she's fighting the battle of confidence inside of her. I thought that was pretty good. Kanade, nobody. Not this one. Not this one. Misery? No Misery. And Loving Sacrifice Maple. Don't see any. So I wonder how that is. I haven't been paying attention to Facebook and all that stuff. So I don't know how that's been. I wonder if it's died down like on this whole Loving Sacrifice Maple on Facebook or not. And there we are. That would be Bofuri. So I didn't do the EV this time around. I imagine it's still not worth opening, especially at $90, because last week was 54, and it going slightly down. It's not even close to $90. I didn't feel like doing it. I mean, if this thing ever goes back to $6, I'll revisit the EV thing. But at this point, not worth doing. Okay, so finally, oh man, summary time. What we got? Overlord went up. Anything in green went up. Fate Grand Order and Magia Record Anime. But again, like if you take a look at these Data Live, Magia Record Mobile, Fate Grand Order, like look at the averages here. Adventure Time, Overlord. I would have never guessed that all these, like Overlord being in the fives. But again, that pretty much could go back to saying like it wasn't open. There was not a huge supply of actual single cards out there. So, but again, rock bottom is somewhere Mob Psycho in the 367s, and I like showing this just because again it just proves how much that no matter how bad the set is, it looks like there is a certain point where the double R's can only go so low. It can go lower when the set falls out of meta or is really really old. But as for modern double rares go, at least these sets, so going back as far as 828, what you're seeing is it doesn't go crazy off the cliff kind of thing. There is actual some value held in the double rares. Does that make it viable to open the box? No, unless you get it at that low price of pre-order when you first get it. But it's pretty nice. It shows that you can actually pick up a set of double rares to play with. And I know again, I'm talking about as an average, as a whole. I'm not talking about like all these right here. So all these again are your most expensive rares, and we can see here how much it would actually cost to get it. But if you're looking up to pick up a playset after the fact, or you're trying to make a deck after the fact, it's not going to cost you as much as you think. And I don't want to be sounding like some guy that just has a ton of money, because I don't. But if you're looking for a good time and just you're having a good time and playing with not a meta deck, I mean, it's definitely doable, right? If I want to play Magia Record Mobile and I want to get some of these cards right here, making a deck with double rare is not so bad. If you want to make more of a strong meta deck, yeah, it's going to cost you more because people all want that same card. It only makes sense that would happen that way. Okay, but overall, we can see that there is a point that they can drop to, and at that point, yeah, maybe it's worth picking up. So, okay, hopefully this is helpful. To me it is. I like watching these numbers, and it's really neat to see how this shakes out every week. But anyways, have a happy weekend. It's going to be a good one for me. I'm going to eat some barbecue. Tons of barbecue, so it'll be good. All right, have a good one.